Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Excel Today. It is Monday, July 18th, 2022, and we are here and live on a Monday of
4 days before my birthday. Woo!
Oh, yeah, I know. Happy early birthday, Joe. Joe wants a car, guys, so you really want to treat him to something. He wants a Tesla Model S,
Yeah.
fully tricked out, all the options. So, if anyone really wants to treat Joe on his birthday this Friday, get him a Tesla Model S.
I'll see you in 8 months. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, Joel. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I say good morning, but it might be good evening, might be good afternoon. I know we have a global audience. Prasad, hello. Good morning as well. So we had everyone vote last show, and they chose Power Automate and Power Apps came in a tie. So we're doing both topics. It kind of worked out for us because we had kind of planned already to do both topics, but I'm glad you guys felt the same way.
It's going to be so cool. I'm going to teach you how to use Power Apps to build an application for a SharePoint site using Power Automate. Yeah, all three.
All right. Just some quick updates, guys, on the channel. Again, I think I've been saying this over and over again, but shorts are about to go up to 2 a day. And then on Learnit Anytime, the ad-free service that we have, if you guys don't want to watch any ads or anything like that while you're watching videos, you can always join Learnit Anytime. They have we have all our courses available there, but we are currently having an instructor finish up all the quizzes right now so that we can finally get those up on there. So you would be able to take a quiz to test your knowledge, and then once you complete the quiz, you will earn a certificate of completion, or a certificate, I should say, not a certificate of completion, but a certificate of mastery for passing the exam. It's all fully automated within the system there on Learn Anytime, and all those are stored against your guys' account, so you can access them at any time or download them. What have you, if you need them or anything like that. We are kind of looking at badges for that right now, but I don't know how much interest is in badges. I know it's kind of like a hot thing in the training industry, in our industry. It seems like everyone has a badge. We do badges ourselves here. It would take a bit of work for us to get badges, but let us know if you guys want to have badges. I'll even drop that in the chat. Just to start yeah. Well, we have the new chat functions here. Hey Shiva, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm trying to cover them all. Anyways, that's all the updates for me. That's it for the channel. As always, like, subscribe, comment below. If you guys like what you're seeing. We also have the super thanks button. If you guys, really feel, like we really knocked out of the park for you, you can always give us a super thanks as well. All that helps us continue to have, to create videos for you guys each and every week. I also have that Excel VBA video. Almost forgot. That's currently being edited right now. So that should be coming up as it'll just show up on the channel, guys. As soon as it's fully produced, we're going to upload it and just shoot it off. So that's just gonna be a timing thing. So keep an eye out for that. Hello, June, and hello, Nicole. Oh, I love the last name, Nicole Benjamin. That's a great name. All right. Any mugs today, Joe? Any mugs?
No, I still have them all left.
Packed away, yeah. Well, I have my huge, this is the one when I'm tired in the morning. If you guys ever see me bust this one out, this one holds like 3 cups of the normal amount of coffee that I'm used to. So I'm highly caffeinated, if you guys can't tell. I'm talking like a million miles per hour. All right.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for me, Joe. Like, are you ready to jump into Power Automate and Power Apps?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Shiva. Yeah, super excited. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So what I want to do today, and because it's Power Automate and Power Apps, is I decided we're gonna here's the like backstory. We'll pretend something's going on because it makes more sense this way. Let's say, for instance, that we have a SharePoint site and we want to request supplies, right? Just like any company needs some supplies, whether it's books, whether it's computers, or anything. So what's going to happen is we want to create a phone application on our phone, right? Where, let's say, an employee needs something, they go on their phone, they put in what they need, when they need it by, and how many they need, and then they click submit. That then gets pushed over to our SharePoint site, where the behind the scenes will, have them order the material and then send it out to the person. That's what we're doing today. We're creating a mobile app that connects to SharePoint, and we're doing that through Power Apps with the integration of Power Automation. So if you have Power Apps, if you have Power Automate, feel free to follow along with me. If you have SharePoint as well, if you don't have those things, no worries. You can always, rewatch this later on. But with that said, let me share my screen. Let's get right into it. And then tell me once you see my screen, or well, Ben, tell me. Ben, you see my screen? How's it looking?
I do see your screen. Let's make it show up on the show here.
All
There
right,
we
there we
go.
go.
Boom.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do is go to my Google Chrome and open up that SharePoint site just so you can see it work. So I'll just go to office.com. And I'm going to open up. I already created a fake SharePoint site for you. So if you do have like some sort of fake, it's called Power Automate Test Site. Um, So I created this list here called Supply Order Request. And it's just a simple list. It has three things here. It has the item, the date it's needed, and then the amount. That's it. That's all you need. Just three things. Keep it simple. If you want more, you can add more. You can totally customize this. So now I have the supply order request. Like I said, what I want to do is have my employees take their phone, put in what they need, how many they need, and the date they need it, and then it will transfer it here where I have other people taking a look at this and making those orders, right? So a fun little system. So the first thing that we're going to do here is go over to Power Apps. Now you might be saying, where does Power Automation come into play? So even though you'll see here that we do have Power Automation as an application and we have Power Apps as an application, they are two separate things, but they do work well together. And with the new update to Power Apps, now it integrated the Power Automation into Power Apps. So you don't even have to go to two separate places anymore. It's all in one place, which I love more than anything. So I'm going to click into Power Apps. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create our own application. Of course, this is the interface, and I'm going to start off with a blank app, right? Create an app from scratch. And there's different apps you can create. You can create an app based off of data. You can create an app versus website customizations, or you could just create like a phone app and design your own mobile application, which I'm going to do today. I'll click create. Now they do have two different things. They're like, Joe, do you want it to be a tablet format or do you want it to be a phone? You do have more room with a tablet, but today I just wanted to show you a phone app. So I'm going to use phone. I'm going to name this. I'm going to call it the Supply Request app. And then I will click create. It's going to get things ready for me, as you can see here. Now, right away, the Power App Studio will recommend, hey, do you want to, since you're starting from scratch, you want to use some, gallery? Do you want to use a form? Do you want to create some templates? I'm saying, no, I don't want any of that. I'll just skip this. But I always like to show it just in case later on I change my mind. So I won't select this unless you don't like it popping up. So I'll say skip. Now, here's the little, I would call it a canvas. That's what they like to call it. So this is our canvas. This is called a screen one. And I'm just going to use the control key and just zoom in a little bit just so I can just, see and have a great workspace here. Now, to actually add things, you'll see it says add an item from the insert pane or connect to data. So if you already have pre-existing data that you want to turn into an app, you can pull that into this application. We're not going to do that. We're going to create everything from scratch. So I'm going to go over to the insert pane, which can be found right here. And you'll see these little tabs. And also notice, which is really amazing, the new Power Automate. How cool is that? It's in the pane now. That never used to be there. So that's why I get so excited about it, because now we can create flows within Power Apps. But we're going to click into the create. And I'm going to create a couple of things. They have a couple of popular things here that I typically use. They have different inputs, like if you want to put a button, or maybe you want somebody to enter in some text or sign something with a pen, or maybe select something from a Dropbox. So you can pick whatever you want. But for me, I'm just going to do, first off, 3 text labels. And this really is just a piece of text that's going to display in your application. So I'll do 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to move one of these. I'll move one right here. I think that looks good. You see all the sizing and alignment. I love that feature. I'll put one here. And then let's do one, I think right there. You know what? I'm going to do one more. I'll do another text label. And this one will just be the title text. And I'll put that at the top. So for the text, once you create these text box, you'll notice on the right-hand side, you actually have all the information for this text box, like the size, what position it is on your canvas. You can do text alignments, font, all the normal formatting that you would find in Microsoft, like Word or Excel. So for this text, I don't want it to just say text, so I will change that over here where it says text, and I'm going to put in supply request app. I may want to make that a little bigger in font size. Not only can you affect or format this text here, but you also have the quick access toolbar here as well. So I don't care which one you use. You can use these or you can use these. They do the same thing. I just like this because here you have to type in the font size. Over here, you just have to click the drop down like normal. So I'll put that at like a 32. I do want to align it in the center. I do want to bold it, so I will pick a bold, full bold. You could do a semi-bold. I like full. And I'll underline it. And then I'll change the color. Let's do a nice blue. That's my favorite color, by the way, if anyone cares. Why not, right? Let's keep going with this. I got supply request app. Let's do for the label, we'll just call this one item needed. And once again, I will center that. I might do like a underline. I think that's good. For the second text, this is where I'll put the date needed. Date needed. And once again, I'll just underline it, put it in the center. And then for this one, I'm thinking, let's do amount needed. Once again, I will just underline that, center it, and there we go. We have date needed, item needed, amount needed. Now we have to actually put in the input, so where they can actually input information. So I'm going to do 2 text inputs, right? So for the item needed, I want them to click into it and be able to type something. That's known as a text input. Now I'll put that text input right underneath it. I think that looks good. And I'll do one more. Oop, that's okay. I'll delete that one out. Let's do a text input instead. There we go. And I'll put that underneath amount needed, just like that. And for the date needed, they actually have something called a date picker. I really like this. You could use a text input and they could like type it in, but why not? Why not add a little calendar that they can click and choose the date? Just like that. And you know what? I might just move this up a little bit. There we go. Now, the last thing I'm going to want to do here, or maybe even 2 more things, I might want to add a button, right? So I'm going to add a button. Right now, this button does nothing. We have to actually add a function to it. That's where our Power Automate is going to come into play. For the button, I don't want it to be called button, so I'll just go over here to the pane and call it submit. And then let's add a little, you know what? Let's have some fun. Yeah, I'll add a little image of like Learnit's logo. So you can go to display or even media, and you'll see imaging. For display, you can do text labels, once again, HTML text or forms if you wanted to add a form from Microsoft Forms. But I'm going to add an image here. And let's add, for this image, I'm going to choose add an image. And I'll use Learnit's logo. And let's move that, I don't know, maybe a little smaller to the bottom. Oh, I think that looks great. Yeah, or you know what? I know I'm a center freak, so let's do like that. Okay, so we have this app. This is what it's going to look like. I think it looks great. We're good to go. I may just want to move this over a little bit. There we go. So everything's aligned nicely. So right now, this is the app. There's nothing going on though. Like you can't do anything. You could like put in text input. You could put in date. You could put in the text input here. But when you click submit, nothing's going to happen. So what we need to do is we need to use Power Automate to take this button and create an automation between this application and SharePoint. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is click on the Power Automate pane, and I'm going to create a new workflow. I am going to create this from scratch, so I do want to create a blank because in my mind, I'm thinking about the process that we're going to go through. And then it's going to load it into a little bigger page in a second, just like that. So the first thing it starts off is it makes a connection between this button, that submit button, and Power Apps and then Power Automate. So whenever we click that submit button, this is what's going to run this workflow. And even if you click into this Power Apps trigger, it says no additional information is needed. You'll be able to use outputs in the subsequent steps. So sequential steps. I'm going to click on new step here. And the first thing we have to do is we have to create variables. The reason being is because what we're going to do is once we create the variables, we're going to pass the text or the answer that somebody submits in our mobile phone through that variable into SharePoint. So I'm going to do something called initiate or initialize a variable. So on this initialized variable, what we're going to do is rename it. I click the three dots or the ellipsis, whatever you like to call it. I'm going to click rename. And just for fun, I'm just going to use my first initial. I'll call it J name. You can name it whatever you want, typically whatever it's going to actually be. So I'll use J name. The variable itself is going to be called name. The type, well, since we're naming an item, what we want to do is use a string of text because a string of text tells the computer that it's words being used and not like an integer, which is a number, or a float, which is a decimal. So this is going to be a string of text. The value here, we don't know what it is. The reason being is because somebody has to actually put in what they want, whether it's a computer or a desk. So this is the best part. For the value, we're actually going to ask in our application once they submit it. So we'll click on the only thing available, ask in Power Apps. So now it's going to say, okay, Joe, we're going to ask for this JName value because I named it. You want to be sure to name them so it looks like this. Otherwise, they'll all look the same and it'll get very confusing. So I'm going to say JName value and click new step. I'm going to create another variable for the amount now, right? Because we want to pull the amount. So I'll do initialize variable. I'm going to rename it because otherwise they'll all be named the same. And I'll click rename. I'm going to name it J amount. So for this one, it's going to be called amount because, well, that's what we're looking for. Someone to put how many they want. And it's going to be an integer because it's going to be a number. Typically, when you're talking about, I mean, you could do a float, I guess, but I don't want to float because I'm going to say, like, if you want to order 2 computers, you're not going to order like 2.5 computers or 2.5 books. So I guess it really does depend on like what you want, right? For me, I'm just going to call it just a, integer. Now, once again, how are we going to figure out what amount? Well, they're going to enter it in on that application. So we're going to once again ask in Power Apps. And see how I'm naming this? If you didn't name this J amount and this J name, it would just say initial value. And that would not be okay because you're going to start getting lost. And I'll show you how this is going to work well for us in the app in a minute. So now it's going to say, okay, we got 2 variables. We're actually going to add a new step in. And now what we're going to do is, since we want to connect it to SharePoint, I'm going to type in SharePoint to see all the things we can do. So it says, okay, Joe, what do you want to do? Do you want to send an HTTP request? Do you want to get an item? What do you want to do? Well, really, when they enter stuff into this application, what it's going to do is create a new item in SharePoint. So I'm going to click Create Item. Now, this is where we connect to the SharePoint site. So we have our Power Apps connected to Power Automate. Now we're connecting to the SharePoint site. So we have to pick the site name. And they do have a list of all your SharePoint sites that you've created. So I created the Power Automate test site. Then they'll have a list. And I think our list was called Supply Order Request List. And now it's going to take a moment. It'll give more options. So now it's going to say, okay, Joe, there's the title, the date needed, and the amount. And you can see that here. There's the title, the date needed, and the amount. All right. So that's what it's asking for. It's like, well, how are we going to know what goes here? How are we going to know what goes here? Well, what goes here is the name, whatever they put into the J name. So really the app is saying, okay, there's a J name, which means the item name. We're going to put in that item name. It's then going to feed into SharePoint, and that's what the item name is going to be. It's going to be the J name value. This is why it's important to name them. So whatever Joe puts into the J name value is going to go here. Amount, the J amount, right? That's why you name your variables. So whatever we need in the amount goes here. We don't have a date variable. I did that on purpose because, well, when it comes to dates, you have to format them. So it's going to be a little weird. So instead, we're going to ask in Power Apps for this. So we do have a date picker. Once you pick that date, it'll feed into the date needed, which is cool. So I'll ask in Power Apps. So it'll create an item based off of date. So this is what it looks like for our flow. This looks great. We created the two variables, the J name, the J amount. We now know that once someone fills in the J name and the J amount, it'll feed into the title and the amount. And then for the date needed, once they click on the picker, it'll push it. So now we just have to name it. I'm going to call this one Supply Fun app. And now I'm just going to click save. It's saving. Once it's saved, it's going to exit out on its own. And then over here in the Power Automate, you'll see that it'll have a, it'll actually show the app. So it says there was a problem adding your service. Please try again. No worries if that happens to you. Start from scratch again. I'll do it real quick. So don't mind me. Sometimes that'll happen like with connections. So let's actually change this again. In this way, you'll be able to watch it again, just in case you're following along. So I'll call this variable JName again, call it name. I'm going to choose a string. I'm going to ask in Power Apps. And same thing here. I'm going to name it JAmount. We're going to call it amount. We're going to make it an integer, and we're going to ask in Power Apps. And then the last step is to connect it to SharePoint, where we create an item. We're going to choose our SharePoint list. Let's go that one. We're going to create the supply order request. The title is going to be the name, J name. The amount is going to be J amount. And the date needed, we're going to ask in Power Apps. Now let's call this Supply Fun, and hopefully this works well. And then we'll click save. Let's load it and hope that we don't get an error on this one. We didn't. Perfect. So now it's called Supply Fun. So now this button is going to, when you click on it, be connected to Supply Fun. Now, in order to do this, when you click on a button, you'll see here that we have to write a formula. The first thing to connect this button to this Power Automate is we need to name it. So I'm going to call this what the name of the actual app is. It's going to be Supply Fun. And you'll see next to it, we have supplyfun.run, which means run the automation when we click on the submit button. So I'm going to click on that. Now, here's where the naming of the variables really comes in handy. See, we called it JName. We have to now fill in the argument. Where are we getting the JName value? Well, we're getting it from this text input. And the text input is called text input 1. So I'm going to type in text input 1. And you'll see it even highlights it in green and in green. Now we want the text from that. So we're going to put a period and do text, because we want to pull the text from whatever's in this box. So when they type in item needed and they're like books, now it'll run it through the Power Apps and it'll send it over to SharePoint. Next, we have to add in our second input, which is going to be the amount. So I'm going to type in text input. And I know it's the amount because, once again, look what I did here. I named it J amount. I'm going to call it text. Now for the third thing, the created item, which is the date needed, right? We need the date. We're going to use the date picker. So once again, I'm going to use text function. But I'm going to choose the date picker. So I'm going to choose date picker 1. And once again, it color codes it. You'll see everything's color coded, which I love about Power Apps. So we have date picker 1, dot, we need to actually select the date. So we're going to use something called selected date, because whatever selected date they have, we now need to format it to a year, month, day format. So I'm going to put in a comma. I'm going to put in what the format is. We're going to put that in quotes. We're going to do year, month, day. And we'll close that off. And then we're going to close off that parentheses, close off the second. Now it's saying, okay, Joe, whatever you put in this text input goes here. Whatever you put into this text input goes here. And whatever you pick the date goes here, and we format it like this. And then once we have all this information, we're going to feed it into SharePoint. And I'm like, perfect. That looks great. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to actually run this to see if it actually works. So we have our app. We have our SharePoint site here with nothing in it. And if we did this correctly, this should work perfectly. Now, when you're testing an application, by the way, you're going to come to the top right-hand corner and click Run or Preview this app. Or you can use F5 on your keyboard as a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to click on this. It gives us what it's going to look like on the actual application. Let's say that we need computers. All right, so I'm going to type in computers. When do we need them? We need them by my birthday, the 22nd. And I'll click OK. And how many do we need? We need about 15 new computers. So now I'm going to click Submit. And let's see if it works. When we come back over to our SharePoint site, even if there's nothing here right away, you can refresh it. And even before I refresh it, look how cool that is. Now we have computers. We need it by Friday, and we need 15. So we just created an application that works perfectly. And I can do this over and over again. I could say we also need 30 chairs. So I'm going to say chairs. I'm going to need those by August 2nd. And I'll type in the amount, 30. And of course, this is all touchscreen on your phone. So you won't have to do it like I am. This is just a preview. So chairs, August 2nd, 30. Let's go back over. And it might take a little moment to just gather the information and print it. If it doesn't, you can always refresh. Let me go over to refresh. And there they are, the chairs, August 2nd, 30. So pretty cool. This is something that is very powerful. As you can see, we can create mobile applications for our company to get some sort of workflow done. If you run into that issue like I did where it just said the service wasn't connecting, remember this is always feeding to a server. So sometimes Microsoft has a little like lag or something. Just redo it. As you saw, that happened, but now it works perfectly. But yeah, with that said, I think we're almost at time. I know that took the whole time, but I hope you enjoyed this content. And yeah, I hope that you're able to build wonderful mobile applications that connect to anything. It could be SharePoint, it could be Microsoft Forms, anything you like. If you do want to get into more in-depth like automation, let me know. We can run through a couple of other scenarios for Power Automate. There's just so much you connect Power Automate to. So even though this is Power Apps where you build an app, this is what Power Automate looks like. And you can create workflows based off of anything. They also have templates here, which are really just the most amazing. Like for instance, take a look at some of these. Send an email for new tweets about a certain keyword. So if you have your company connected to a Twitter account, or if we take a look at this one, notify me when the store response when a student completes a quiz. So notify me and store that response for teachers. They have everything for everyone here. But yeah, let me know if that's something you want to take a look at, Power Automate next time. But with that said, I hope you really enjoyed that. And there we go.
Yeah. Always informative as always, Joe. And I mean, like just the uses you could use just for a simple form like that is if you guys have anything that, people have to request from you in email, and instead of it getting lost in email, you can create forms like this. And then you can always check it in your SharePoint, and you can keep track of it there. I mean, just simple things, like if you have something weekly that people request and you need to do by the end of the week, it's an easy way to track all of that. I mean, super simple applications that you can do right away and get a lot of productivity out of right away. We did have one question from Avid. I just want to highlight it real quick here. Could you explain basic Lua and obfuscation next stream or video? Lua, for those who don't know, is a add-on language to C programming. It's there's not a lot of trainers for it, Avid. I will definitely poke around though and see if we can get somebody to come on and be a guest on the show and do that. It might take a few weeks for me to get that done, but yeah, let me ask around and see if we can get anyone to come on as a guest to do that. I just wanted to reach out to it. I'm not making any promises that for 100% for sure we're going to get somebody, because sometimes it's really hard to find people, guys, to do some of this stuff. I can definitely tell you there's a lot of Python stuff out there. Joe's learning Python right now, but just trying to get somebody to do do some more videos for us has been a journey for me, honestly. It's been the hardest one. You would think that would be an easy one with a lot of people, with so many people doing Python, but it's a little bit harder than I thought. But anyways, I'm not going to get too sidetracked on that. But yeah, I'll poke around Avid and see if we can do that. I did want to do a very quick poll, guys, just on what you guys want us to cover on the next show. So I'm going to drop the poll here. I know there's kind of a little bit of a delay from us putting the poll up and you guys getting to be able to answer it. So I'll just give you a few seconds. But again, if you guys like what you see, like, subscribe, comment below. It does help us out tremendously. We do have the Excel Today mugs for sale down below too. If you really, really, really like the show, you can purchase one of those. That helps us out a lot. There's a super thanks as well. That helps us out a lot. And then again, if you guys want ad-free training, you want to earn certificates of completion, you can join at www.learnitanytime.com. That's our subscription service. No ads, earn your certs. You can print them up and everything like that. And then almost all the video, there's a little bit of a delay between us getting the ones on the YouTube channel up to Anytime, but they do get there at the end of every month. And so all the videos that you see on our channel will also be in Learnit Anytime as well. Well, I shouldn't say all the videos. We keep the most current videos. So like, you won't see Excel 2013 on Learnit Anytime or anything like that. And then finally, we do get a lot of questions asked in the comments and everything like that, guys. And I just want to reiterate, if you guys want help directly from our instructors, you can join Offsite. It's our online community. It's offsite by learnit.com. And you can go in there. There's a whole bunch of topics and everything like that. It's like a really fancy looking Slack. That's the best way I can put it. But you can go in there and you can ask any question you want on any of the topics that we have available there. I mean, Excel, PowerPoint, Word, SharePoint, Python, Lua. If you want to jump in there, you can ask your questions, and our instructors are in there directly responding to every single one of those questions. So I think this month it's Foz. So Foz is in there answering all your guys' questions, anything you have, and he will get to them within the day, within one business day, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we're here to help. So let's see. Let's take a look at the poll.
What's everyone want to see?
Yeah, what's everyone want to see? Let's see. I'm going to end the poll real quick. Let's see what I need to end the Q&A as well. Sorry. Let's see. I lost the poll.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Sorry. I did not lose it, guys. I found it. We're learning with this new function they added to the live chat here on YouTube. Let's see. Everyone wants Excel. So Excel with 50%. There was 8 votes. Power Automate had 37%, and then 12% for more DAX. DAX was very popular. All right, we will come at you guys with Excel. Joe, do you have like a quick topic off your head that you want to do in Excel? I mean, we could always do pivot tables, guys. Pivot tables and slicers are always super popular.
I can do pivot tables, or I could do Power Pivot. Power Pivot's really cool when you have multiple data sets that you need to first pull data and merge, and then you can create the pivot table based off of the merge. It's actually, everyone does have access, or I believe everyone should have access to Power Pivots. It's just an add-on that you have to turn on. I'll show everyone how to do that. But if you're interested in that, let me know in the chat. Comment below if you're like, yeah, let's do Power Pivots. We'll do it. If not, we'll do something else. Though we'll have some fun in Excel.
Yeah, Back to the name of the show.
Excel today.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. We hope to see you next week. Again, we're going to meet probably Thursday or Friday to just determine what date next show will be. We'll be here every week, one day one of those days next week we will be here. We just don't know
That's
what day it is yet, just because our schedule is super fluid and it's constantly changing. So we will let you guys know on Friday. You'll see it pop up on the channel. There'll be a little notification if you've subscribed and get the notifications. You'll see it there. All right, have a great week, guys. I know it's Monday, so let's get at it. And I hope everyone has a great week. Repeating myself 1,000 times. All right, bye,
Have a
guys.
good one, everyone. Bye.